If you were to wander into the back of the arena and just see them in the ring, you might easily guess that you were looking at middleweights. There's a 2-year age advantage for Kermit Cintron. They are both 5 feet 11 inches in height and relatively long-armed, though Cintron has a 1.5-inch arm length advantage measured from the armpit to the end of the fist. They both weighed in a half-pound under the 147-pound limit. Both have significantly rehydrated overnight. CompuBox numbers from their first fight 3 years ago, Larry.
The numbers show a slight edge for Margarito. The fight, of course, was a much more decisive edge for Margarito.
Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Kermit Cintron Antonio Margarito fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules that you see on your screen. Jim, real quick, the 4 criteria that the judges will use to score each individual round: clean punching, effective aggressiveness, great generalship, and defense with a strong emphasis on clean, effective punching. Jim!
3 years ago when first they met, it was Cintron who walked first because Margarito held a title at that time. Since then, Margarito lost his title belt to the rangy Paul Williams, who has since been upset by Carlos Quintana, and it is Cintron's title belt which is at stake in this fight. So Margarito walks first. Born in Torrance, California, moved to Tijuana very shortly after that, has a tremendous following in Southern California, hasn't appeared that much on the East Coast, though in his last bout, he had a 1-round knockout of Golden Johnson in Madison Square Garden.
Also has the distinction of being rejected as an opponent despite a significant offer from for Floyd Mayweather Jr. He said these things before this fight. He gives Cintron credit for taking a rematch. He acknowledges that he's a more skilled and experienced fighter now. But he added, under pressure, he will revert to what happened 3 years ago.
In those recent fights in which Margarito has had trouble, however, usually it was against rangy opponents, like Williams, who was taller. And so Cintron's height could conceivably be a factor in the bout. Daniel Santos, who has a win and a draw with Antonio Margarito, was another fighter who was taller than Antonio in the ring, and that is an unusual picture for him to face. There was a moment when he was regarded as the most avoided guy in the sport. You mentioned that Floyd Mayweather turned down an $8 million offer to fight Antonio Margarito. At about the same time, Shane Mosley made the same decision. Since that time, others have moved on to take his mantle. Now, here comes Kermit Cintron, and surely the biggest change in his career since that loss to Antonio Margarito is a change in management, and most particularly a change in trainers. He is now trained by Emmanuel Stewart, whom you see there on the right of the screen, as respected as any trainer in the sport, and most particularly seen as a guy who helps to facilitate offensive fighters, big punchers. Those are Cintron's primary assets.
The question is being a tough guy nature, who you are, or can it be nurtured by experience, by being around a great man of the game like Emmanuel Stewart?
Cintron wearing a t-shirt which signifies his support for funding of efforts to find a cure for cystic fibrosis. And you see his recent results, including a spectacular knockout of Welter here last year in Atlantic City, one of the most spectacular knockouts of the year 2007. Let's go to ring announcer Lupe Contreras for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, before beginning our co-featured bout this evening, we'd like to take a moment to pay tribute to one of the great lightweights and welterweights of the 1940s and 50s. This man, with his flamboyant style and great boxing talent, went on to become one of the top draws of his era, facing off against such great fighters as Tommy Campbell, Jesse Flores, and Carmen Basilio. Tragically, this past March 15th, he suffered a stroke, and only a few days later, he succumbed to his illness at the age of 80. And ladies and gentlemen, as we do with all members of the boxing community when they pass on, we pay tribute to their memory with boxing's traditional 10 count. If you'd be so kind to please maintain a moment of silence for the golden boy of his era, Mr. Art Aragon. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and may he rest in peace. And now from Boardwalk Hall, Atlantic City, Mexico and Puerto Rico face off for the 12 rounds IBF Welterweight Championship of the World. These bouts are being brought to you by Bob Arum's Top Rank Incorporated, in association with Main Events, Caesars Atlantic City, the Rums of Puerto Rico, and Tecate. These bouts are being sanctioned by the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board. Chairman is Tony Orlando. Board members, Dennis McDonough and Stephen Katz. Acting Commissioner is Sylvester Kyler. Supervising for the IBF, Mahasan Scott. The judges are, out of New Jersey, Pierre Benoist. From Pennsylvania, George Hill. And from Connecticut, Clark Sammartino. The referee is, out of New Jersey, Earl Brown. And ladies and gentlemen, introducing first, the challenger. Fighting out of the blue corner. He steps into the ring wearing black, trimmed in Mexican green, white, and red. He weighed in at an official 146 1/2 pounds, with a professional record consisting of 35 victories, only 5 losses, 1 no contest, and 25 of his victories coming by way of knockout. Out of Tijuana, Baja California, Mexico, the former WBO welterweight champion of the world, the Tijuana Tornado, Antonio Tony Margarito. Across the ring, in the red corner, he steps in wearing gold, trimmed in Kronk blue and red. He weighed in at an identical 146 1/2 pounds, with a professional record consisting of 29 victories, only 1 defeat, and 27 of his victories coming by way of knockout. This evening, defending his IBF Welterweight Championship of the World, out of Reading, Pennsylvania, and representing Carolina, Puerto Rico, Kermit Cintron.
Get the belt. Get the belt. Yo, yo. Thank you. Mahanson. Antonio, Kermit, you receive your instructions in the dressing room. Obey my commands at all times. Protect yourselves at all times. This is for the IBF Welterweight Championship of the World. Touch him up.
When Art Aragon hit Carmen Basilio with his best shot in the first round and nothing happened, he went back to his corner and said, "Get me out of here before this guy kills me." Margarito claims that something like that happened with Cintron when Cintron hit him his best shot in the second round of their first fight.
Cintron starts with a hard right hand. Margarito, in his difficult fights, not just his losses, but for instance, a hard tour of duty against Clottey also, has had the habit of starting slow. After last year's loss to Paul Williams, he's flatly stated it's never going to happen again. I have learned my lesson. I will crank it up early. I will start fast in every fight. Never again will I find myself trying to come from behind on the scorecards in late rounds. And he certainly lived up to that in his one-round demolition of Golden Johnson in November in Madison Square Garden. But Johnson was a shop-worn fighter. Cintron is arguably at the peak of his career. Good uppercut by Cintron, followed by a hard right hand by Margarito.
Cintron seems relaxed and just wanting to box. And if he sees an opening, he's taking it. Margarito has not turned the jets on yet.
Good jab by Margarito. Cintron has landed a couple of excellent right hands in the first round. Right hand over the top by Margarito. Cintron wraps his left arm around Margarito's right. Good jab again by Margarito, and a body shot. And Margarito starting to crank up the work rate. Cintron needs to find an opening to try to bring a big shot through it.
Let him go. Break. Go punch. Back up.
Already more action in this half round than there was in the first 2 or 3 rounds of the first fight.
Indeed. And a physical offensive fight so far. Two guys who didn't land all that consistently in the 5 rounds they fought in Las Vegas, April 23, 2005, and both are landing with regularity in round 1 here. Hard right hand by Cintron, and another. He stops Margarito in his tracks at a moment when Antonio was pressing forward.
Margarito is trying to test Cintron's will.
And Cintron is trying to test Margarito's chin. So far, both Cintron's will and Margarito's chin are holding up, and that makes for great combat in round 1. Right hand by Margarito, snaps Cintron's head back. Good left hook inside by Margarito. Margarito was the busier fighter in round 1. Cintron landed some quality shots.
Look in your jab, okay? Placing your punches good and careful. Okay, give him the water. Just placing your shots. Don't be wasting anything. Make sure you know where your shots are going. You understand? Okay.
Right straight to the body. And he twists over. Hit him on the inside so you bring him up. Bring your guard up. Bring your guard up. Don't bring your guard down. He's just waiting for you to open up. But he's waiting for the counter punches.
CompuBox numbers in round 1 reflect what a terrific offensive round it was. Cintron throwing 81 punches, landing nearly for 40% of them. Margarito throwing 108 punches, landing nearly 40% of them. They were identical in jabs, landing 16 out of 48. Both guys have gotten off to hot offensive starts.
Margarito had a fight in which he threw an average of 140 punches a round for 12 rounds. But he's 30 years old. He started fighting when he was 15, and you wonder how much mileage he has on him.
The fight that you referred to a year and a half ago against Emmanuel Clottey, he threw 1,675 punches, which is the all-time CompuBox record for most punches thrown in any fight in any weight class counted by CompuBox. Joshua Clottey, rather, not Emmanuel Clottey, was the opponent in that fight. And it was a fight that Margarito could well have lost had not Clottey hurt his right hand in the 4th round. Now round 2 begins, and between rounds, Emmanuel Stewart was relatively calm with Cintron, but now Cintron is taking some artillery from Margarito early in round 2.
As he promised, he's starting fast.
Trying not to give Cintron any room to breathe. Uppercut snaps Cintron's head back. Left hook lands. A flurry of punches from Margarito, body and head, and he's seizing the offensive initiative midway through the 2nd.
Inside, Margarito, shorter punches, more effective.
Hard right hand by Cintron, not enough to stop the tornado. Margarito continues to come forward. Cintron trying to find the one big opportunity to turn it around. Misses with the uppercut. Margarito lands his uppercut. Lands his left hook to the body. Another good body shot inside by Margarito with the left hand. Now Cintron fires twice to the body. Can't stop Margarito from throwing.
Cintron looks relaxed, as though he could stand the pressure this time. Let's see how that goes over time. This is a fierce pace.
And one thing that's happening is that Margarito is closing the distance on Cintron, not allowing Cintron the arm room to extend his punches and land as big as he wants. In other words, Cintron is seeing his power smothered.
And Margarito is landing the hard body punches.
Okay, sit down. Listen, you fight smart, believe it or not, on the inside. Keep going forward, you understand?
I'm going to warn him about the low blows. I'm going to warn you about
Watch the head. Watch the head.
Understand that, all right?
Okay,
So
sir.
watch your head also.
Nomás no se los falles. Conéctaselos
Don't
siempre
miss,
esta
don't
parte de
miss.
aquí así.
Throw
Fuera
into
del
the body,
estómago,
straight into the body.
hígado.
Go for the body, go for the liver.
And I'm warning you about the low blows. Let me see.
Quítale, quítale. No, no hay nada. No hay
There's
nada.
nothing there. There's nothing there.
Watch the low blows, all right?
Después de arriba que le estoy
Make sure you
golpeando
cover
abajo.
watch the low blows.
Inside, Margarito showing how he is more effective and more experienced at this part of the game. But we saw in the corner that there is what is now a slight cut over the left eye of Margarito.
Emanuel Stewart asked Kermit Cintron to stop backing up and go forwards. Cintron knows, of course, that by stepping forward, he's going to be going right into the whirlwind because Margarito won't stop throwing. In that round, Antonio Margarito released 133 punches. Some fighters might try to be a little more cautious against a fighter with the power of Kermit Cintron. Margarito simply doesn't believe it exists.
Good combination by Cintron.
When Emanuel Stewart was asked about the possibility of training Kermit Cintron, he wasn't enthusiastic because from what he had seen up to that point, he did not think the fighter had talent. But when he spent time with Cintron, he discovered that Kermit is a terrific all-around athlete. Emanuel said, I watched him play basketball. I watched him bowl. I knew that he was a star high school wrestler. I realized that he had the athletic talent to adjust to almost anything, and therefore that I could teach him. Good right hand by Cintron.
But as some fighters say, boxing, prize fighting isn't the game.
Good uppercut by Cintron.
Come on, guys.
By
Watch
steadying
your
his
head,
feet
guys.
and
Watch your
going
head.
forward, Cintron is making better purchase with his punching opportunities here in round 3. Now Margarito starts going back to the body where he's done significant damage already.
One fighter, Cintron, has the harder punch. One fighter, Margarito, has the harder chin.
And perhaps the harder mentality, which ultimately may be the key to the fight. Cintron is beginning to get the distance he wants, though, to make his punches count. Margarito not quite as willing to just keep stepping inside. Maybe the cut over his left eye has something to do with that.
Or the pace, Jim. It's a fierce pace when it's coming back at you. He's thrown a lot of punches in fights without that much coming back at him.
Margarito landed a straight right hand and a solid left hook. Cintron so far has taken those shots very well. Keeps trying to find the right foot position to land something big on Margarito.
All right. Watch the back of the head. Watch the back of the head.
Earl Brown warning Margarito not to hit Cintron behind the head. Cintron was stunned by that right hand.
Punch him in the back of the head.
And now complains again to the referee, and Margarito takes advantage to go right at it. It's becoming a big round for Antonio Margarito, as once again, just as was the case in Las Vegas 3 years ago, Cintron is distracted by some factors in the ring.
He claims that Margarito is hitting him behind the head, but it may be because Cintron was coming into those punches. But there is that cut over the eye seems to have opened up more widely.
Kermit, he's getting tired of slowing down. You see his shit is sloppy now. He's just throwing punches. Just keep dropping your right hands. Even though you have a knock, keep dropping the right hands on him. Keep dropping them on him. And the uppercut, he's...
Drink, drink. Nothing. It's a little cut. It's a little cut.
Está ganando. No, serenito.
Come on, relax, relax. You're missing because come on. Settle down. Relax your punches. Relax yourself. Use your jab.
Okay. Now here's where Cintron loses his composure, bends down as we have seen many fighters do before, and the punches aimed at him will land on top or on back of the head. That is not a foul.
Twice Cintron wanted to talk to the referee. That's not advisable against a fighter like Margarito, who is throwing and throwing. CompuBox numbers in that round. Antonio Margarito landed 48 of 90 power shots. So prolific, Harold. How do you score it through 3?
Okay, Jim. 2 rounds to 1. 29-28, Antonio Margarito. Jim, I thought Kermit Cintron had a pretty good round in the first round. I thought he's landed some real nice combinations late in the round to win the first round. But after that, Kermit Cintron with that vicious body attack that's got Cintron's guard coming down. Jim, notice this. Kermit Cintron stands straight up. Very, very little head movement. I mean, the guy is absolutely like a totem pole. And Margarito sees that. When he goes to the body, he drops Cintron's guard. He murders him in the body. 2-1 Margarito.
Good right hand by Cintron.
After a good left to set it up.
And another one.
Cintron is starting to land some combinations as he did in round 1. Cut man in Antonio Margarito's corner is Francisco Espinoza. He's fighting a battle to try to keep that cut closed around Margarito's left eye.
Margarito, the quintessential aggressive, I'll take your shots to get my shots, Mexican warrior.
A high-class brawler. A brawler with skill. Often the word is used as a pejorative to indicate that a fighter is rudimentary. In Margarito's case, he knows how to box. He'd just rather fight. Hand upstairs for Margarito. Cintron comes back with an uppercut. Margarito's more effective with his uppercut.
Margarito, a kind of ultimate truth machine in the ring. Can you stand in there with him? Can you take his shots?
Can you keep him from walking you down?
Do you get discouraged when you hit him with your best shots and he keeps coming?
And after having managed to will himself to go forward for much of round 3, Cintron finds himself backing up again in round 4. And Margarito feeds off of that. He lets his hands go and lets his hands go again. Hard right hand by Cintron. Margarito walks through it and keeps throwing.
The way they're going at it, Jim, whoever the winner is, has already been softened up for Cotto next summer.
Come on, you're covering in with the left. He's coming in towards the left. He's coming in towards the left. Use it. When he comes in, then come in with the right. Come on, close the hands up. Sit him solid. But come on, he's setting up for your left. You understand me? Because he's hiding. He's bringing in the shoulder. Come on, hit him. And then throw the left and then on the inside.
Vivo con los
Come on, lively, lively, lively with the counter punching.
De repente te tira un golpe de este, te la guardia arriba.
Through 4 rounds, Antonio Margarito is averaging 113 punches thrown per round and landing 48 of them. That's a very high percentage. It's a very high work rate. It's exactly what you expect from him. Kermit Cintron's 25 out of 81 per round, utterly respectable, but he's not landing the kinds of big shots that will stop Margarito in his tracks and slow down that oncoming assault.
We're through just 1/3 of this fight. Seems that we've seen enough offense for a fight and a half.
Incidentally, the interpreter doing a great job in Antonio Margarito's corner is Jerry Olaya. You'll also hear him in the next fight interpreting in Miguel Cotto's corner, where Cotto's trainer, his uncle Evangelista Cotto, does not speak English, although Miguel increasingly speaks English in public.
Cintron has landed 4 clean punches to the head of Margarito, taking his distance, trying to find the right place to be, if there is a right place to be with Margarito in the ring.
Cintron is showing a lot of stomach, a lot of will.
Break, don't punch, don't
There's
punch,
no
don't
lack
punch,
of
don't punch.
courage in what Cintron is doing in the ring. He's just getting hit too much by the constant offensive assault of Antonio Margarito. Cintron blocking those left hooks with his right glove.
Push his head down, don't push his head down.
Tries to stop Margarito in his tracks with one right hand, and Antonio keeps on coming. Now there's blood trickling from the right eye of Kermit Cintron.
Cintron,
Same eye that was cut in the first fight with Margarito, and it looks as though the cut is in about the same place. And Cintron now complains again to Earl Brown about being hit on the back of the head, and Brown takes Margarito to task, but did not deduct a point. And that cut on the right eye of Kermit Cintron is in a very difficult spot.
I don't know why when a fighter bends down and he gets hit on top of the head, it should be a foul. Whatever I think, that's what the referee has ruled.
Well, physicians will tell you that few things are more dangerous in the ring than getting hit on the brainstem. And maybe the idea, Larry, is that you shouldn't throw when the opponent is in that position.
Well, that's the ruling, but if one fighter is acting in a way unprofessionally by bending down instead of being able to clinch, why should the other fighter be punished for it?
Now a big test of will upcoming for Kermit Cintron, as well as some work for his cut man, Dr. Steven Stoller.
All right, good. Listen, you got to box him this round.
How you feeling, Kermit? Huh? How you feeling?
Let Doc work his eye. You get on the other side here. I'm gonna jump out. Doc, you get on the touch his eye.
All right, that's okay. Just get some adrenaline.
Okay.
Kermit, you got to talk to us. You want to continue or not?
I'm good, man.
Are you good?
Good.
Kermit, he takes a good punch. You've got to try to box.
It's lateral, so it's not dripping into his eye.
No, it's fine.
It's okay.
All right.
Listen, you've got to box this round. You understand? Don't get hit.
Now watch the left hand that opened up the eye of Cintron. And there again, as in the first fight, he starts to bend down instead of clinching to buy time or getting away some other way. You heard in the corner Emmanuel Stewart now telling Cintron to do more boxing. It surprises me, Jim. I would have thought after that first fight and after Margarito showed he could take Cintron's best shots, that would have been Cintron's plan going in tonight.
But when you've knocked out 27 of your 29 victims, you have the mentality of a puncher. You're accustomed to relying on your big punch to win the fight. It's very hard to convince your body to do what your mind says it shouldn't have to do. Power shots in round 5, Cintron was 17 out of 40. Those are very good numbers. but Antonio Margarito was 40 of 86 in the same category. Those are mind-blowing numbers.
Cintron doing much better from this distance. And once again, he looks at the referee.
As the blood begins to flow over his right eye.
It's like he's lobbying the referee every time it gets a little too rough in there for him.
Every time he's lobbying referee Earl Brown, Antonio Margarito is hitting him.
Break, don't punch, back up.
It's not easy to become a superstar boxer beginning in the sport at age 19. Margarito has been fighting since he was a little kid. Cintron's background as a wrestler isn't necessarily enough to prepare you for what goes on in this ring.
4, 5, 6.
He's reacting as though he's really hurt, Jim.
Body shot.
Yep.
Another body shot knockout. We've seen a series of them in recent years. This was a tremendous left-hand shot to the body. And very often, it finishes fights.
I don't know that Cintron lost his composure as in the first fight, Jim. He fought as hard and as bravely as he could. But ultimately, he just couldn't stay with the tougher, stronger, better schooled man. As he said before the fight, Jim, eventually he will revert to what happened 3 years ago. And Margarito was exactly right.
Even down to the point of ultimately being cut in exactly the same place as was the case 3 years ago. Watch for the left to the body on this knockout replay. Boom. That often finishes this kind of fight. Just a brilliant left-hand body shot right above the liver. Cintron focusing on trying to avoid damage upstairs and getting hammered in one of the places where you are least able to recover. Interesting preview of what may be yet to come this evening, because Miguel Cotto's trademark throughout his 31-fight career has been the left hook to the body. Let's go to ring announcer Lupe Contreras for the official particulars on the knockout.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Earl Brown reaches a count of 10 with an official time of 1 minute, 57 seconds of round number 6. Your winner, by way of knockout, and now the new IBF welterweight champion of the world, the Tijuana Tornado, Antonio Tony Margarito.
Final CompuBox numbers will show you Margarito's extraordinary offensive output, landing 257 of 611 punches. 611 punches in just short of 6 rounds. He averaged well more than 100 punches per round and landed at a 42% connect percentage. Cintron did okay, 136 out of 451, 30%. Certainly not bad for nearly 6 rounds of work. And there's the big difference in the fight, as Margarito landed 128 more power punches. That's an average of nearly 22 more power punches per round, all of them thrown with conviction. Larry Merchant stands by with the winner.
Thank you, Jim. Congratulations, Antonio. What did you say to Cintron after the fight?
Bueno, sabíamos que él es un golpeador, ¿no? Que está bastante fuerte pero sabíamos que lo teníamos. Me di cuenta en el segundo round que aflojó un poco.
We know he's a great puncher, he's a great fighter, but we know that after the second round, he slowed down a bit.
So was it, as you predicted, just a rerun of the first fight?
Bueno, sí, claro, lo comenté que me confiaba en mi preparación. Tuve una preparación excelente y gracias a Dios lo demostré. Yo me sentía confiado de noquearlo y lo volví a hacer.
Yes, that was my comment initially, and had excellent preparation, and I was very confident. That's why I returned the knockdown. Came out again.
You used to start a little slowly and then build up to a steamroller close. Now that you're starting faster, how much difference does that make to you as a fighter?
Bueno, así empecé un poco también. Había comentado con poco precaución, pero más rápido en mis otras peleas. Aprendí de mi derrota que tuve y lo mencioné que iba a apretar desde el primer round.
I started a little slow, but I was a bit cautious. But I said in my other victories, and I learned from my loss, that was the way to start out fast and then pick it up.
Can Cotto stand up to you?
Bueno, claro, ya vamos a mirar, Cotto está dentro de los mejores en los welters y eso se lo vamos a dejar a Bob Arum. Él va a hacer la pelea y estamos listos para cuando él quiera.
Cotto is one of the best welterweights, and we'll let that up to Bob Arum to see whenever he's ready, whenever Cotto's ready.
Thank you. Congratulations again, Antonio.
Quiero mandar saludos a mis cuñados Diego, Hansel y Jalo que me está viendo. Muy especial a mi compadre Mario, a la Jackie y al Mario y a todos en el Gimnasio Azteca y en el Kera en Tijuana.
To my brother-in-laws Diego, Hansen, and all the brothers at Tijuana Gym.
Un saludo a Nicole también que me
Thank you,
está viendo.
Jim.